All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to get into a masterclass on a topic that is just so critical for any of us teaching English right now: differentiated instruction. Really, it's all about learning to see the individual person in front of you, not just the level they've been assigned.
So let's start with the big one, right? The question every single teacher asks themselves. You walk into your classroom, you look out at all those faces, and this question is just hanging in the air. How on earth do you teach one lesson to so many different people, all learning at their own pace?
And that really brings us to our first core idea. One class is filled with many, many different learners. The truth is, every classroom is this incredible mix of speeds, confidence levels, and starting points. So that old one-size-fits-all method, it's not just a little inefficient. It's pretty much guaranteed to leave some students totally lost while boring others to tears.
Just look at the difference here. A traditional lesson is like a single file line. One path, everyone marches at the same speed, and everyone's expected to end up in the exact same place. But a differentiated lesson? Oh, that's a whole different world. You've got multiple paths, the pace is flexible, but here's the key: everyone is working toward the same shared goal. Okay, this is so important. We need to completely reframe what we think differentiation is. It's time to bust the biggest myth out there, the one that stops so many amazing teachers from even giving this a shot.
Let's just put this myth to bed right now. The myth is that you have to write, 25 different lesson plans and that your workload is going to explode. The reality? No. You design one great lesson that just has multiple ways in. It's not about working harder. It's about designing smarter. And it is absolutely not just for students who are struggling. It's for making sure every single learner is growing.
And this quote, this just says it all, doesn't it? Differentiation is a mindset. It's a way of thinking. You stop stressing about how to create more and more tasks and start thinking about how to open up access to the one great task you've already planned.
So why is this especially critical when you're teaching a language? Well, because learning a language is so personal, isn't it? It's vulnerable. That fear of making a mistake can literally shut a student down. And if we don't differentiate, the same few confident students will always dominate the conversation. What this approach does is it creates psychological safety, and that is the absolute bedrock of real communication.
All right, so you're on board with the why. Now let's get to the good stuff, the how. How do you actually do this in your classroom tomorrow? Well, it all comes down to 3 core levers you can pull when you're designing any lesson.
Here they are, your 3 design axes. First up is readiness. Basically, where is the student at right now? How prepared are they? Second, interest. What actually gets them excited and motivated? And third is their learning profile. How do they learn best? Are they visual, auditory, hands-on? You just adjust your lesson along these 3 simple lines.
And please remember this mantra. You are not changing the learning objective. The goal is the same for everybody. What changes are the roads they take to get there. And, this is so important, every single one of those pathways has equal value. And in today's world, we've got some pretty amazing tools to help us out. Think of AI not as some scary replacement, but as your own adaptive assistant. It can help personalize prompts, adjust the pacing for different students, and give instant feedback, basically extending your reach as a teacher. So, it makes sense, right? If we're going to change how we teach, well, we absolutely have to change how we measure success. And that means a pretty big shift in how we think about assessment. This really shows the before and after. The old way of assessing is all about ranking students, looking for perfection and rewarding speed. But differentiated assessment, it flips that completely on its head. Now the focus is on personal growth, on whether they can communicate, and on celebrating progress, not just how fast they got there.
In this quote, wow, it really captures the heart of this change. Your job description changes. You're no longer a judge trying to sort the strong from the weak. You become a guide, asking a much more powerful question for every single student. What do you need to take one step forward today?
So what happens when you make this shift? What are the real tangible results you'll actually see in your classroom? Well, the data tells a pretty amazing story. I mean, the impact here is just staggering. Take a look at this chart on student speaking confidence. In a traditional class, you might see it hovering around 35%, but in a differentiated classroom, it skyrockets to 85%. That's not just an improvement, that is a total transformation of your classroom. And it doesn't stop there.
You'll see participation become balanced. Confidence goes up for everyone, not just the usual suspects. You'll start to discover all these hidden talents you never knew were there. But honestly, the most important result of all, students actually start to believe that success is possible for them.
So let's be crystal clear about something, because this is so important. This is not about lowering your standards. We are not making things easier. We are raising access to high standards, making sure every student has a real shot at reaching them.
And that really brings us to our final thought here, the big takeaway. When we truly embrace this way of thinking, we make a really profound shift in what we do. We stop just teaching lessons, and we finally start teaching learners.